Members of the provincial administration, members of the national government administration officers, our security agencies are already working with communities, with county government officials on identifying the areas that citizens can be relocated to. There is a whole of government process underway in different parts, especially in the fragile areas that we believe are dangerous and we need to evacuate citizens. So there is already a comprehensive plan run by the Ministry of Interior, working with county governments, working with communities on the ground. And that is why I was saying some community members have demonstrated tremendous patriotism and cooperation by being available to be evacuated, participating in the relocation exercise, and it is commendable that citizens themselves are taking charge of this process, working with members of the national government, the county government, and our security agencies. Treasury has been mobilized to, number one, prioritize disbursements to counties to make sure that counties have the necessary resources to deploy intervention to manage this crisis. Number two, we have also directed Treasury to provide resources to our NGCDF and members of parliament to prioritize the reconstruction of school infrastructure that has been destroyed by the floods. We have also directed the Treasury, working with the Ministry of Roads and Infrastructure and our military, to provide resources for roads, bridges, and other travel infrastructure that has been destroyed by the floods. And we have asked Treasury to work with the resources they have, engage with development partners, and we are also encouraging the private sector to step forward. In fact, private sector persons, individuals, and organizations who wish to contribute to this national effort, the Office of the Deputy President will coordinate that effort, and additional information on how citizens, private sector individuals, private sector institutions can participate in this exercise will be issued by the Office of the Deputy President. The weight of tragic events in recent weeks has tested our nation's resilience in the wake of unprecedented challenges. Persistent torrential rain has unleashed devastating floods, which have claimed 210 lives as of today. It has also caused injuries to many more and wreaked havoc on property, infrastructure, and livelihoods. No corner of our country has been spared from this havoc. The reopening date of our schools after the April holidays, which was scheduled for Monday this week, has had to be varied. Transportation has become challenging in many parts of the country due to flooded and damaged roads and bridges, and the threat of ravaging rivers and overflowing dams in downstream regions is immense. Water volumes in the Seven Forks Hydroelectric Power Dam have hit historic highs, with Masinga and Kiambere dams already spilling over through the managed spillways and threatening to overflow into neighboring settlements and causing devastation downstream in Garissa and Tana River counties. Sadly, we have not seen the last of this perilous period, as the situation is expected to escalate. Meteorological reports paint a dire picture. The rains will persist, increasing both in duration and intensity for the rest of this month and possibly after. County security committees are directed to determine on a case-by-case basis the radius that shall constitute the scope of the area subject to evacuation and mandatory relocation that has already been pronounced. The county security committees are further directed to continuously monitor other dams and water reservoirs across the country that may not be presenting a risk now, but could do so in the event of further precipitation. The Kenya Defence Forces and the National Police are directed to deploy resources, personnel, and equipment for carrying out coordinated public safety and risk mitigation operations in as many parts of the country as they have installations. Security agencies are further directed to enlist the support of the National Youth Service and work with the National Government Administration officers to respond to this emergency, including ensuring timely, orderly, and human evacuation of all persons at risk. Cabinet secretaries will spearhead disaster response and mitigation efforts across the country, and to this end, ministries, departments, and agencies are directed to work closely with the National Disaster Operations Center and security agencies to ensure the whole-of-government approach to the management of the prevailing crisis. The government, working with stakeholders, has put in place adequate measures to provide temporary shelter, as well as food and non-food essential supplies. The ministry responsible for special programs is directed to work with development partners and relevant humanitarian organizations to mobilize adequate food and non-food supplies to support all affected persons. Will remain in this cyclical crisis for a long time unless and until we confront the existential threat of climate change. Our climate action agenda is informed by the sad reality that our country's future remains under threat until we restore our degraded ecosystems, including forests, rivers, and wetlands. We must therefore remain committed to confront this existential challenge and do it head-on. It is imperative for us to prioritize environmental conservation efforts and implement aggressive reforestation and wetland restoration programs. Scientific evidence indicates that restoring our natural habitats is our best defense against escalating weather extremes. To this end, I urge you, fellow citizens, to sustain and intensify your positive response to the ecosystem restoration agenda, which aims to grow 15 billion trees nationwide within the next 10 years. This year's program on climate action agenda will be made public in the coming days. The Ministry of Environment and Climate Change and Forestry is hereby directed to immediately expedite the implementation of the Ecosystem Restoration Program and work with all ministries, departments, and agencies and other stakeholders to provide a whole-of-government, whole-of-society, whole-of-nation program. In the face of daunting challenges, immense threats, and unprecedented hazards, our nation has never faltered. The people of Kenya always stand with one another and work together to overcome adversity. We are called upon once again to join hands in this critical juncture and support each other until this season passes, and afterwards, in all endeavors to secure a sustainable future for generations to come. Together, we will win the war against climate change, and also we will build a resilient nation. Thank you very much. God bless you.